everyone, and welcome to Lauren Reed Color. In today's Saturday Snippet, we're going to be checking out how watercolor behaves in Small Victories by Johanna Basford. So if you've been following along with our series, this is the page we are working on. I'm calling it Garden Friends, and so far we've completed the snail and we are working on the bee. I'm just going to show you the inspiration image so that you can see what we will be trying to achieve. This is our inspiration image, and as you can see, here we have a gradient. Here you have these blues moving into the purples, going into the pinks, oranges. We're going to try to get this effect. Now, keep in mind, let me go back to our image. As I was saying, keep in mind that on our image, we've got two sides to this bee and the honeycomb that we added with a stencil. If you're new here, there is a playlist with all of the videos where we've been working on this page, and you can check it out. Anyway, as you can see, we've got the honeycomb on this side and the honeycomb on this side, so it's not in a circle. So I was thinking of doing the gradient slightly differently. We're going to go from the blues, yes, to the purples, to the pinks, and then to the yellows. Now, I was playing around with some colors. Okay, just ignore the fact that it is not a gradient as I've just described, because I was just playing. I was seeing how the watercolor would behave. Now, this paper is not the same kind of paper as in Johanna Basford's book. It is sketch paper, so the watercolor spread a little bit more. We're going to try and not get it to spread like that. Keep in mind that watercolor is a notoriously unpredictable medium. There is no way we can predict in advance what it's going to do. So we'll just try our best. Anyway, I'm going to try and get the gradient, as I said, blues, yes, purples, pinks, and yellows. And the colors that I'm going to be using are from Winsor & Newton Cotman. Okay, but any of the colors that you have in your collection will do. You do not need to go out and buy the same colors as I have. Any watercolors will do. Also, if you don't have watercolors but have watercolor pencils, that is also fine. And even if you don't have watercolors, you can use pencils. Okay, just adapt your techniques to what we're doing. So for example, if you're using pencil, put a light layer of pencil down, a base layer color, and then the pencils on top. We are in any case going to be using pencils on top of the watercolors. So the colors that we're going to be using are Gamboge Yellow, which is 266, Permanent Rose 502, Turquoise 654, and Payne's Gray 485. And we'll be mixing these colors together. Again, you're not going to get the exact same results as me, and that is fine. You just go with the flow, as we say. Okay, so before we start with the watercolor, however, we're going to, let me just put this aside. Yeah, so before we start with the watercolor, we're going to be finishing off these leaves with the greens. Okay, so we have Pale Sage 1089. We have Olive Green 911. We have Prussian Green 109. We have Kelp Green 1090. We have Lime Peel 1005. And for the watercolor, I also have a water brush. I have a palette where I've already mixed some of my colors. And I have my pans of, oops, hope I didn't get any paint on there. And I have my watercolor pans just in case I need more water color. Also, I have a bottle, a spray bottle. Well, actually, it's a pump bottle with some water because we want to get that light gradient. Therefore, our paints are going to be very watery. I also recommend that you have a cloth to brush your brush on, and also a scrap piece of paper to make sure that the watercolor is the pale color that you want. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Right, we are zoomed in and we're going to be doing all of these leaves. Now here, as you can see, they're really, really tiny, so you need to have a very, very sharp pencil. We're going to start by putting a base layer of Pale Sage down, okay, on these leaves. Okay, so as you know, if you've been here for a while, these are chatty videos. So if you don't want to listen to me go on and on about different things, books and movies and things that are happening in my week, you can put me on mute. Okay, we're going over with Prussian Green 109. Okay, also please keep in mind that I have a very, very whiny Jack Russell. So every once in a while you might hear him. Also, there is a new cat in our neighborhood that has taken to meowing quite loudly, and you might hear that as well. Also, we have a park in our neighborhood, and the kids have gone out to play. It's early Saturday morning. Yeah, there's the whiny dog, as I was saying. He doesn't like it when I'm not paying him attention. Yeah, so he is 17 years old, in case you're new and you haven't heard. And he's always been, he's a Jack Russell, as I said, so he's always been very hyperactive, but it's only now that he's gotten much, much older that he's become so really whiny. He didn't used to be as whiny as this. Okay, we're moving on to Lime Peel 1005. Okay, and just a little bit of this in the highlight. So I don't know, as he's gotten older, he's gotten crankier and a lot more, a lot more complaints about the service at this hotel. Anyway, and do I want to put some marker in there? I think so. I'm going to use a marker to deepen up the shadow. So I'm just going to get a marker. I'll be right back. So any dark green watercolor marker will do. This one that I have has a brush nib, and I'll also be using a Q-tip. Okay, and I'm only going to be putting this down in the very, very deepest shadows next to the petals of the flower, and then just blending it out with the Q-tip. There's really tiny. I don't think I need the Q-tip. Okay, and so as I was saying, he's gotten much more vocal and whiny as he's aged. Right, so I hope that you've all been having a good weekend. Today, if you're not aware, today is my birthday, so I am going to be going out for lunch, and I'm looking forward to that. We're going to one of my favorite restaurants. Okay, now we're going to move on to these leaves. Okay, again, a base layer of 1089. Yeah, so we're going to one of my favorite restaurants, and I'm like, I have the menu in my head, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to have. Okay, now we're going to use olive green 911. This restaurant has an all-day breakfast, so you can have breakfast whenever you want, and they make excellent breakfast. So I'm thinking I'm going to ignore my low cholesterol diet and have something bad for me. Okay, once again, we're going to use the watercolor marker. So I will definitely be enjoying that. I also got some lovely cards from some friends, and the roommate gave me my present. I will show you in a second what she made for me. Hold on. She sews. So sometimes you might hear the sewing machine in the background. So she sewed me something. I will show you. So she made me a top in some of my favorite colors. So we have here a nice jade green and black, and she has this paisley material that she made a shirt for herself with, and I was oohing and awing, and so she used some of it to make my shirt, and I am really looking forward to wearing this. So that was really nice of her, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, so she also got me some cool washi tape for my 2026 coloring journal. Wait, where did I put my page for my hand. Underneath. Yeah, so I'm all stocked for 2026. I have my coloring planner, I have my washi tape, I have my stickers. I will be doing a haul with all my goodies in an upcoming video. Okay, back to the Pale Sage 1089, and we're going to go over these. Just a light layer. Okay. All right, now we're going to go in again with the olive green 911 and just put this color down in the shadow areas, leaving the highlight. Yeah, so it's that's what I'm going to be doing today after I finish chatting with all of you. So what happened this week? So as you know, I'm back to work. I've met all my classes. I've got some nice new students. Well, they're nice right now. Once the semester gets going and they get used to me and the workload, it's not that they stop being nice, it's that they lose their fear of me. But on the whole, yeah, I love my students. They work hard. And yeah, so in my Introduction to Prose and Drama course, we were discussing the elements of fiction. Okay, I'm just going to now go in. These spaces are so small that I'm not really putting down a lot of color. Okay, so back in with our water marker. I'm only going to put this down the middle here, really lightly, like that. And then take the Q-tip and just whoosh. Okay. Now let's move on to, do I want to make these green as well? I'm going to skip those for a second and move on to these. I'm not sure I want to make those green. So let's use a base of lime peel. Okay, lime peel 1005. Yeah, so we were discussing the elements of fiction, setting, plot, characters, characterizations, and I was really impressed because so many of them are quite well read. Sometimes I have groups that don't really read, and sometimes I have groups that read a lot, and I think that this group is going to be in the latter. They were telling me about all of the books that they read and applying them to the elements of fiction that we were learning. So I was very happy with them. In another group, we're doing academic writing, and I was teaching them the structure of an introductory paragraph, and that was not as successful. They were struggling to understand the difference between the bridge. So an introductory paragraph in academic writing is made up of a hook to grab the reader, a bridge to connect the hook to the thesis statement, which is the third part of the introduction. And they got the hook, they got the thesis statement, they were struggling with the idea of the bridge. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that and move on to the other side. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with those leaves, so we'll see. Let's move on to the other side and do exactly the same. Okay, so we're starting with Pale Sage 1089. Yeah, so they were struggling, and what they tend to do is, in the bridge, rather than providing some general information on the topic, they start to develop the thesis statement. And I tell them you have to wait for that, because each point in your thesis statement is going to have its own paragraph in the body of the essay. So it takes time for students to figure that out. Okay. Prussian Green 109. But we do lots of practice, and so by the time they actually have to do one for a grade, most of them have it down. Yeah, so that was that group. And in my 20th century literature group, we started talking about World War I poetry. So, yeah, the general knowledge is every year they have less and less general knowledge. So I have to do an introductory lesson on World War I, the reasons for the war and the way the war was waged, because it was war in the trenches. Now we're going to take, I think I used lime peel. Yes, lime peel, 1005, a little bit into the highlight. Yeah, so I have to give them an introduction on the war and life in the trenches, because it's just completely beyond their life experience. They're not that familiar with any of that. Okay, again, we're going in with the watercolor marker, very lightly, only in the deepest shadows. Yeah, so I always show them a video of what life was like in the trenches for the soldiers, because I explained to them that in between all of the gunfire and cannon fire and all of that, the soldiers really, they were quite bored in the trenches. There was a lot of downtime. And they wrote letters and they wrote poetry. And so we're going to be reading the poems of some of the more famous poets like Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon. Okay, let's move on to, which other ones did we do? We did those. Let's go to those ones. Again, Pale Sage. Yeah, so it's been a fun week. I really enjoy teaching. It's fun. It's fun seeing them learn and grow and change. Olive green, I think we used. Yes, 911. Yeah, so that was my work week. I also recorded some videos. I got a couple of new coloring books, and I did a mini coloring book haul. So that's up on the channel if you're interested. Quite a few coloring books came out in October. So I got it's called The Land of Little Adventures. I keep wanting to call it The Little Land of Adventures. I think I'm going to just darken that up a bit more. Yeah, so I got that one by Rita Berman. And I also got Rooms of Wonder by Johanna Basford. That's not a new release. Yeah, let's do this one. I'm just going to turn the book for a second. Yeah, so just a light layer of this on here. And I also got Shooting Star by Maria Trolle. That's not her new book, but she does have 2 new books out. So she's got her Seasons book, which I got, and there's a flip through on the channel. This is Olive Green 911. She also has a Christmas book that's come out. I don't tend to get Christmas books, or in fact, I don't tend to get many holiday-themed books at all, because I don't really want to limit myself to only coloring a book in a certain season. And so I would much prefer to get general books that have holiday-themed pages in them. And I will actually be doing a video at the end of the month with all of my holiday-themed pages. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, so I'm not going to get that holiday-themed book. What else came out? Oh, yes, and Johanna Basford's new book also got released. Where am I? I'm with these. Let me just make sure I'm on screen. Yeah, we're with these. And for that one, I used the base of lime peel, 1005. Yeah, so Johanna Basford's new book also came out. It's called Wonderful Wildflowers. I am not really a fan of leaves. I know I'm coloring leaves right now, but leaves are not my favorite elements to color. I prefer people and animals and buildings and the occasional flower or leaf. But a book that's entirely dedicated to flowers is not really my cup of tea. It's the reason I don't have World of Flowers by Johanna Basford, and it's also the reason that I don't have The Secret Garden, her first coloring book, because there are just too many flowers and leaves. So yeah, I don't think that I will be getting her new book. Okay, what do we want to do next? Do we want to move on to the watercolor? I think so. I think we're going to move on to the watercolor. Simply because the watercolor is going to have to dry for a while before we put pencil down on it. So I will do the watercolor and then let's see how long that takes. And if there's still time left over in the Saturday snippets, I'll go back to the wings. All right, so let's move on to the watercolor. Zoomed out because I want to show you from a distance how it's all going to come together. Now, this is the first time that I have filmed using watercolors on the channel, so bear with me. It can be a messy process, it can be an unpredictable process, but it's also a lot of fun. So let me just talk about how I prepared everything. So the first thing that I always do with my watercolors is I put a drop of water into each pan just to get it all wet. And then I leave that for a minute or two just to let the water seep into the pan and to get the watercolor wet. So for that, I have this little bottle. It used to have eyedropper medication in it. And then once my eye was better, I emptied it out and I filled it up with water. And this is great for just if you want one drop of the water, yes, to come out. It's the best technique. I find that much better than spray bottles or the pumping bottle, because you only want like really one drop. So I do that, okay, and then I let it on the side. And then what I tend to do is I tend to take a few dabs, yes, of the paint. I put it into this ceramic watercolor palette that I have. And then I take the pumping bottle and I put a few squirts of the water into the palette, okay? And this is where I do all of my mixing, okay? So if I want to take color that is the pure form of the color, then I take it from the pans. And if I want to blend colors and mix colors together, then I do it on the palette. And for this project, we want our watercolor to be very, very light. Now, to get light watercolor, you don't add white, because if you add white, then you get opaque watercolor. Instead, to make the colors lighter, you add water. Okay, so I also recommend having a piece of paper on the side to test out your colors before putting them on the paper. Okay, and so for that purpose, I have this notebook, and I will be testing out the watercolor on here first before adding it to Johanna's book. Now, I do not promise that this is going to go smoothly. We will just, do our best and hope that everything works out. As I said, we're going to try to get the gradient, yes, from blue, purple, red down to orange and yellow. But I'm actually thinking that I'm going to start with the yellow, because I am right-handed and I don't want to smudge the paint with my hand. So we're going to start on the left-hand side and move right. Okay, Right, so let's get going. I am using a water brush, but you can use any brush. Also keep in mind that the watercolor might spread a little bit, and that's okay. Just keep in mind that you want to try and keep it inside the lines that you've drawn. And yeah, just try your best. Even if it goes out, it's okay. We're going to go over with pencils as well, and hopefully by the end, it'll look great. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the Gamboge yellow that's watered down, and I'm just going to check that it is watered down enough. Yes, it is. All right, and let's just do this one. Yes, this yellow color. Okay, and you can also take a dab of the pink and put it in. See, now when it dries, it's going to be much lighter. Also keep that in mind. Okay, do I want a bit more pink? I think so. I don't want it, that's a bit too watery. Yeah, you just play with the consistency and see what you like. Oh, see, and if you drop water, it'll just do unpredictable things, cool things. I love watercolor, but yeah, it's not a medium that's easy to work with. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Okay, now we're going to take it, and I want it to be a bit more peachy. So we're gonna take more of this pink and mix it in with the yellow. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking some pink. Oh, let's try and see if I can get you on screen. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking some of this pink. Yes, and mixing in some yellow to get like a peachy color. Okay, and let's see, will we get a peachy color? Yes, I think so. Again, we want it to be light. Okay, let's do this one. Okay. Yeah, we got like a peachy color there. Okay, and let's add some more pink. Oh, that's nice. Okay, hopefully this watercolor is going to work well in Johanna's books. We don't want to, I'm just spreading this water about a little bit, so while it's still wet, you can spread stuff around. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's make this one a little bit more orangey. Okay, so we're going to take more of the yellow, all right, and add it to that peach we had, and then we're going to get more of an orangey color. Okay, so yeah, let's do a bit more. Yes, okay, so I'm just dabbing it on my towel because it's quite watery, so we don't want too much water. I'm also just making sure my protective page is there. Okay, very light. You see how we're getting really light color and a little bit more red. Okay, thinking I'm going to take a little bit of the rose from there, just a tad. Make sure that it's not too much, because I don't want it to be too peachy. I want it to be orange. You can also add some of the yellow directly into it, and then you might get some more orangey color. Not too much. I don't want too much water, because otherwise you're going to get water onto the other side, color on the other side. Ooh, a little bit, but it will dry and then it will fade a bit. Okay, also keep in mind you can pick up color with your brush. So you take a clean dry brush and you can scoop up some of the water as well. Okay, right, now we want to go, I think even a darker orange. So let's take more of this yellow, more of this red. Make it, I might need a bit more yellow from my main pan. Add it in there. I really want to get a nice orange color. Yeah, I like to, you end up mixing and getting new colors. It's fun. Okay, I think that is the darkest orange we're going to get. And still have it be light enough. Let's see. Okay, yeah, all right, so we're gonna do this orange. Okay. I'm gonna add some yellow in there. Okay, we're still going to be doing shading with pencils, keep in mind. See, there you go. See, I lifted up some of the water. Let's take in a little bit of pink, just a little bit. And dab it in there. Okay. Right, now I'm trying to think. I think we want something that's a bit more pink. So I want a bit more pink here because we're going to be moving from the yellow to the orange into the purple maybe. So for that we need more pink, and for that I'm also going to move on to a clean area on my palette. Directly from the pan, the rose. That's a very pinky color. Okay, let's all right, so now I've got a watery pink color, and we're just going to put a dab of the orange. Yes, more pink than orange. And I see that this honeycomb section is more pinky, so I'm going to put the pink here. Okay, and then I'm just going to take some more pink and dab it in. Okay. And then we'll just let it do what it wants. Okay, and I think I'm also going to make this one. Let's make this half pink. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off my brush. Then I'm gonna take the orange and make this part more orange and then merge them together. Yes, all right, I don't want too much water, so I can scoop some up. I can also scoop some up over there. So as long as it's still wet, you can move it around. I'm thinking this one actually needs to be just yellow. So I'm just gonna take some yellow. I want it to be much more yellow, this one. Yes, that's a bit dark. If you can also make it lighter by dabbing it onto the piece of cloth. Oh. Okay. You can also, if you have a water brush, you can squeeze some water out of the brush, and with a clean brush, wipe some of the color away. Okay. Oh, this is coming out nice. Okay, now what I want, I need to look at the reference picture for a second. because I want to figure out what color to make this one. So hold on one second. So here is our reference picture, and I'm looking at the bright yellow ones, and I'm thinking it needs to be this really dark orange. It's one that I want to merge with the pink. So for example, here we've got a yellow one, an orange one, a pinky one. We want it to be more yellowy, leading into a darker pink. Okay, also keep in mind we'll get some of these effects with pencils. Okay, let's go back. So based on that, I am going to try to start moving into the purple. And if you can see, you can take orange, the pinky color, and purple. Now to get this purple, you add the pink and the turquoise. Okay, so that's what I've done here. All right, oops, that was almost paint everywhere. Okay, so I added the pink and the turquoise, and I got this this purplish color. Okay, right. So let's try that out. We're going to go from the peachy color. Let's put them all together here. We're going to go from the peachy color. Yes. Just a little bit. Then we're going to take the pink color, merge those two together like that, and then we're going to take some of the purple and get it to go together. Ooh, this needs to merge a bit more. I think more of the pink over here. All right, so already we've got a tint of the purple. Okay, so in this one, we can take the pink and the purple and leave the peach. It's very light. I want to make it a bit darker. So I just take color from the pan itself to add. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a slightly darker purple. Just a little bit. Okay, it's still more blue than purple. Ah, there we go. Okay, and then all I can do is put it there, and then I'm going to blend it out a bit, and I'm also going to take some of the pink. There we go. Right, and then I just got it to be slightly darker. Okay. Right, and I'm going to do something similar over there. We're going to start with the pink. Okay, and then the purple. Oh, and that's going to look good because our purple flowers are there. Okay, just take a bit more pink. Spread it around. A bit more purple. Okay. It's a slow process, but it's fun. Okay, now I think we want to move. Let's look at the reference picture again. I constantly return to the reference picture to see what I'm doing. Okay, so this one we're going to make more purple and less pink. So let's just go to our purple. Okay, and it's going to be mainly purple. just a dash of pink. Oh, I have an email. I want it to be much more purple. Here we go. I might even get a purple color from the set. Just a second. Let me just see what's going on here. Oh, not too bad. The paper's handling this paint quite well. So I've gotten a purple color. I'm just going to wet that with a drop. Just taking a drop of that purple. It's dioxazine purple. And I'm just putting a drop of that there to make it slightly darker. Okay, and then you can move it into the pink a bit. So now it's more purpley than pinky. Now we want this to be only purple. Take a little bit more paint. Yes. There we go. So it's, oh, this one's only purple. And I'm thinking this one will start out purple. And we're going to move into the blue. So we put a little bit of the purple into the blue. Oops, I just put my finger in the pink. That's why I say it gets messy. Okay, so we're just putting a little bit of purple into this blue. And we're going to get like an ultramarine color. Okay, so yes, and then we merge them together. Okay, so now this one is only going to be this ultramarine purpley color. Okay, now as you can see, the paint has spread a little bit, but don't worry about that because as I said, we're going to be using pencils to add shading. So don't worry too much. The most important thing is really to keep the paint light. It is much easier to darken up with pencils than to make it lighter. And we want it to be light because we want it to be transparent. Okay. All right. Okay. But now we have our gradient from the yellows, the peaches, the pinks into the purple and the blue. And on this side, we're going to go from blue to green. Yes, we're going to try and see how that works out. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take the blue, the turquoise, okay, get a little bit more paint and put it in there and it'll come out more of a blue. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot more blue. Yes. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this one blue. And this one here at the top blue. You can also add a little bit of purple, I think, just to make it cohesive with the other side. So more blue than purple, but a touch of purple as well. Okay. Yes, you want some breakfast? Okay, I have to take a second and just give Toby his breakfast. 1 second. So this has been a somewhat less chatty video than usual because we're painting with watercolors. Okay, let's put more blue over here. Okay, and we're gonna make some green. So the first thing I'm gonna do is clean off this brush because I don't want the blue getting into the yellow. So what I've got here is I've got some of the turquoise and some of the gamboge and I've mixed it together. Okay, and we're gonna go with that. And we're gonna mix that together with this blue. Okay, and we can put all of that green there. And I might even take some yellow just to make it cohesive with this side. And perhaps even a splash at the top of the blue, just so that you get a cohesive look. Let's go back to the yellow. All right, so now we've got that blue, the green, and the yellow all in one, so that we get a cohesive look with the two sides. I'm thinking we'll put even more yellow here. Okay, and green. Okay, and when we use the pencils, it's all going to be shaded and blended a bit more. Okay, let's do a green one over here. And I'm thinking I want to add a bit more turquoise. Okay, right. I'm just mixing the colors, and we're going to make this one more blue. Okay, and I'm thinking I'm just going to take turquoise directly from the pan and do that. And let's take some of this blue, okay, some of this yellow, mix it together, and we're going to get like this lime color, which we're going to put here. Okay, and a little bit more of the blue. Okay, and that's how you get your gradient. Yeah, so now what do we want to do? I'm thinking I wanted to go a bit more darker in the blue. Oops. I have mixed my green and my blue, but I've actually gotten quite a nice color. So sometimes you have happy accidents, yes? So I accidentally mixed this blue, and I still had some of that green on my brush, so I got a completely new color, which I actually like. So I'm gonna go with that color. It's like a muted turquoise color. That's nice. Yeah, so sometimes you get the happy accidents. Let's go with that. And then I'm thinking this side, I want this green by itself. Let's do that. Okay, and maybe we'll put a little bit of this. Okay, so let me just show you this mixture. So this mixture is the turquoise with some of the Payne's gray. Okay, when you do that, you get a grayish bluish color. Yeah, so it's just a matter of playing until you find the right consistency and the right color that you want. Let's see, what color did I get? Oh, yes, see, I got that nice bluish gray color. And you just play with it until you get what you want. And we're going to put a little bit of this green as well. Okay. Right, and there we go. And now I just want this grayish bluish color here, just to make that a bit darker. And now we're only going to get the gray color. And here we're going to add it with a bit of green and a bit of yellow. Okay. Oh, so we got like olive. That's nice. Okay, and here I actually want it to be a bit more turquoisey. You just spread it out. Oh, nice. And here I really want it to be more gray. Okay, so we're just gonna do that. And I think this one we will make more turquoisey. Okay, let's make sure that I've got my protective card. Here we go. And we can drop some of that turquoise in there as well. And yes, some of it there as well. Okay. Oh, very nice. All right. Okay, so as you can see, we have our gradient. Now I'm just going to use some of these same colors for the bee's body. So I'm just taking more of the yellow and putting it in there. Okay, and we're gonna make this section yellow. Okay, and we're going to take some of that orange. Do that very lightly. We're gonna go over with pencil. Okay, mixed it there. And we're going to do this over here. You can even put it a bit into what you had before so you get a cohesive transition between the colors. And here we're going to put some purple. And mix it in with the pink. Get an interesting transition there. And we'll get this transition here. And also with the pink. So we get the bluish tint, the purplish tint. Oops, don't worry about going out, it's fine. Okay, to fix that up, you just use clean water. Lift it up. We will fix that up. When it dries, it'll look better. Okay, and let's put some of the green in there, just a tint. Okay, and at the top here, we can also have green. We can get some green there, and there, and then more yellow. Okay. Oh, I like our rainbow bee. This is what it is looking like right now. We got our gradient from the yellows, the peaches, the pinks to the purples, and then down into the greens and the blues and the Payne's gray. And I'm really pleased with that. I think it came out well, and the paper has held up really, really well to this, because we did use quite a bit of water, not tons of water, but quite a bit. So it's actually held up very well. There's no seepage of color onto the other side. And next time we're going to take pencils and we're going to shade, okay? And in that way we will get an even better gradient. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for today's Saturday Snippets. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the weekend and will join me again next time. Bye for now.